Hi guys, so you're almost there and you're almost ready to fully give your monologue. Yay! Well, before you perform your monologue, there are some things I'd like for you to know, but I wasn't quite sure how to do this video, so I decided that I was going to show you how to perform a monologue through doing different ways that you can perform your monologue well and perform your monologue a little terrible. So let's get started. So in order to fully let you understand what this monologue is about, I'm going to explain it, which I wouldn't do generally when I'm giving the monologue because that takes away from the monologue. And you want your audience to get your monologue from your performance. And that's done through all the preparation you've done and all of the cutting you've done and what monologue you chose. So I'm going to tell you that this monologue is by the Anima series and it's by John Jorgensen and it's called What Are You Afraid Of? I'm only going to do a little snippet of it, which is the beginning part, but I'm going to do it in a few different emotions. The proper emotion for this little snippet is scared or anxious because he starts out by explaining what he's afraid of or what he used to be afraid of. And then he goes on to be an inspirational speaker where that's a totally different shift of emotion. And then at the end, I might do the shift of emotion for you if I can remember it. But this is where memorization comes in, and I hope it goes well. So first up, I'm going to just start with a few different emotions, and I'm pretty sure it'll be very obvious what emotion I'm giving. So let's get started. I used to be afraid at night, afraid of the dark, afraid that just beyond the point that my eyesight allowed me to see that there was something lurking, as if the darkness itself were somehow anything more than the absence of light. I used to be afraid at night, afraid of the dark, afraid that just beyond the point my eyesight allowed me to see that there was something lurking, afraid that the darkness itself would somehow surround me and swallow me up, as if darkness were anything more than simply the absence of light. I used to be afraid at night, afraid of the dark, afraid that just beyond the point that my eyesight allowed me to see that there was something lurking, afraid that the darkness itself would somehow surround me and swallow me up, as if darkness were anything more than simply the absence of light. I used to be afraid at night, afraid of the dark, afraid that just beyond the point that my eyesight allowed me to see that there was something lurking, afraid that the darkness itself would somehow surround me and swallow me up, as if darkness were anything more than simply the absence of light. I used to be afraid at night, afraid of the dark, afraid that just beyond the point that my eyesight allowed me to see that there was something lurking, afraid that the darkness itself would somehow surround me and swallow me up, as if darkness were anything more than simply the absence of light. So there you go. There were my 5 different emotions. One of them is no emotion, which I've seen a lot when people give their monologues. That is just memorizing, not actually preparing. So now I'm going to try and show you the emotional switch, which is in some monologues but not all of them. Generally, there is always a constant emotion in most monologues, but sometimes you'll get an emotional shift of being one emotion and then the other. And so I'm going to attempt that for you. We will see how this goes. I do not have it fully memorized anymore because it's been a whole year. I used to be afraid at night, afraid of the dark. Afraid that just beyond the point my eyesight allowed me to see that there was something lurking. Afraid that the darkness itself would somehow surround me and swallow me up. As if darkness were anything more than simply the absence of light. I used to be afraid of opinions, afraid that the words would not break my bones, but they certainly would shatter my dreams. As if there was no such thing as being made new. I used to be afraid of failure, afraid of losing, afraid of falling, afraid of being wrong, creating busts, and looking absolutely stupid, because who am I to think that I could ever actually make a difference? As if those setbacks were anything more than stepping stones on the path to success. I used to be afraid. Used to. But then I did a little research, and by that I mean I researched and I researched and I researched over and over again, and through all my researching I kept coming up with the same exact question. What room does fear have? What room does fear have when I lean on hope? What room does fear have when I cling to trust? What room does fear have when I search for something more, when I discover what's good, and when I stand in awe? When I run with perseverance, when I walk by faith, and when I rest in comfort? What room does fear have when I sing with praise, when I take hold of inspiration, explore the possibilities, and step into freedom? What room does fear have when I find perfection in the one place I never thought to look? In weakness, when I'm saved by the most unlikely of heroes, by grace, when I'm invited into a relationship more loving and intimate than I could ever imagine as a child of God? I'll ask you again, what room does fear have when in His Word He tells me 365 times, depending on the translation, do not be afraid? As if I needed to hear that every single day. And as if that's how many times I needed to hear it before I finally believed it. What room does fear have when I make room for love? What are you afraid of? Thank you. That is not the proper monologue, but that is on to my next subject of don't stop if you mess up. Don't apologize for messing up. It's okay. We all do it. I've been doing monologues for 5 years and I still mess up. Every single monologue, at least one little way. Sometimes more. The point of a monologue is to keep going. Don't stop halfway through and break character. You will hear that a lot during the year. Do not break character. If you mess up, who cares? Half the time, the audience doesn't know what the script is. Yes, you're doing this for a grade, but trust me, they won't grade you down for having a few words not right. As long as you keep your character and you keep pushing forward, no matter how bad you mess up. And don't pedal backwards to fix your mistake, because then that's obvious that you made the mistake. Just kind of work with it. Make it work. Whether that's pausing right after that and regaining yourself, or if that's just keep moving forward and start talking. As long as you don't stop talking and you don't stray from what your monologue's about, you'll be fine. Just keep pushing forward. Or as I like to say, just keep swimming. Thank you. Bye.